Blast me to Electia! It's time for the Mad Merlin's Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. Issue 42, Part 1, Lore, Build, and Paint Guide. Hello and welcome back to the Mad Merlin's Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. So we are continuing with the battle for Electia, and we are diving into issue 42 today with our first Sisters of Battle model. So this is the Canoness model, which came out as an exclusive to the launch box, and I believe it was even given away as a freebie to those who attended the Warhammer event where they revealed the launch box for the Sisters of Battle. But we'll have a closer look at her under the camera in a minute. And here we have issue 42 with our Canoness looking all imposing up front. So we get a single miniature for this issue. Our first Adeptus Sororitas model, introducing the Adeptus Sororitas, Canoness datasheet and tutorial, plus a brand new mission. So that's pretty good. Let's have a closer look at that model. So here we have the Canoness up close and personal. So she comes on a 32mm base, just like our Assault Intercessors, etc. for our Space Marines. And here we have the model herself. So she's a rather nice model, very few piece count, and there's no spare bits, so she builds up pretty much as you'd expect. So we have the torso in two halves here, with the back of her headdress. We've got her rod of office there, with the fleur-de-lis and an iron halo. We've got the back of a cape, the front of a cape with her regalia dangling down. Her bionic leg is a separate component, and she's got a power sword pointed down to the earth, and her backpack there. And then we got her head finally there. So we'll flip it over, have a closer look at that detail. So on the underside of her cloak, she's got her plasma pistol poking out. So we're not going to have too much detail to paint there, as it's mostly going to be wedged against the back here. But you are going to see the tip poking out, and we're going to be painting that up in gold, just to show it as being an ornate. So yeah, there's her rod of office on the other side. We won't be seeing this detail, sadly, but it's nice that it's there. The underside of the regalia. And there we have the Canoness herself. So no actual hair visible, which she's just got a hood, and below that is her habit from her nun gear, because she is just the leader of the nuns of guns, as they call them. We got a nice symbol there, the Ecclesiarchii, on the backpack, back of the armour. Rather nice power sword, not too ornate, but just unique enough. Yeah, there's her Rosarius, again in the ecclesiarchal eye. Plenty of fleur-de-lis symbols. Yeah, very nice. Can't wait to get this guy all painted up. I'm going to be painting one as the magazine details, and the other one I'll be painting up as my custom order. So I'll be sharing details of that on my social medias. But we've looked at plastic long enough, let's dive into the magazine itself. So here we have issue 42. And again, a lovely shot of the Canoness model. Right, here we go with the contents. So we got our first battle record for our Sisters of Battle, the Canoness. We have the first piece of information focusing on the Sisters of Battle. We have the Sisters of Battle Command for the forces, the first of our different orders, so the Order of our Martyred Lady, which is how we're painting our model, and a short story featuring the Sisters of Battle against a horde of Chaos Cultists with Holy Fire. Building and painting our Canoness. Then we have a datasheet for her, and the Reconsecration mission. So, the Canoness, Defender of the Faith. It is the responsibility of the Canoness to lead the Sisters, the Adeptus Sororitas, both in prayer and on the field of battle. They are pious warrior generals, skilled in the arts of warfare, and possessed of the ability to inspire their troops to acts of great heroism. So we just got all the different equipment here, which we've pretty much covered already. So she's got a plasma pistol, a power sword, her power armor looking very nice and ornate. We've got her rod of office here, and then her Rosarius. So much the same as it's the same as a Space Marines Iron Halo, gives them a nice invulnerable save. And we have a blank battle record for the moment because we don't have the information to fill it in. So we do get this eventually. So we get referred to B background 1. You'll receive this in a future issue. But we'll be able to fill out her name, her titles, and the names of all the different weapons as well. That's nice. So it shows the pistol from the Palatine, which is a power sword and plasma pistol. It's like a lieutenant, but for the sisters. So that's nice. It shows the it might even be the Seraphim one, because the Seraphim Superior has a plasma pistol, but it's nice to show a slightly different view of the gun itself. So our first out of 4 pieces of background lore is all about the Adeptus Sororitas. So the Adeptus Sororitas are an all-female military wing of the Ecclesiarchy. These zealous adherents to the Imperial Creed are responsible for defending the faith, protecting holy sites, and destroying heretics or Xenos foolish enough to threaten the Emperor's holy realm. So this will be detailing a little bit of background information about the Sororitas, where they came from, what they do. And we have the lovely cover of the Codex artwork, which we have as a art print. So nice to see a Sister Sacrosanct there with her shield and power maul. Squad of Battle Sisters in the back there, a priest, banner bearer there, and the war suits. While they do look a little goofy, I do think they're quite nice. They're pretty cool. I definitely can see myself getting a squad of them at some point. So the Order's militant, as the my tongue stops working. So the Order's militant, the 6 main holy orders. So you've got the Argent Shroud, the Sacred Rose, the Order of the Martyred Lady, the Valorous Heart, the Bloody Rose, and the Ebon Chalice. So that's all the main orders. There are lesser orders, of course. They are all fighters of the faith and the Order Militant of the Ecclesiarchy. I have a little bit of information here about the Acts of Faith, that the unique army bonus that the sisters have is basically how they got it. They believe that the Emperor is always watching over them and his hand will intervene when needed. And it's basically the source of their powers, as they say. So now we've got the start of our force organisation chart. So this one focuses on the command of the Adeptus Sororitas. So we've got the Canoness here. So the commanders of the Adeptus Sororitas are pious warriors, well versed in military strategy and tactics, as they are in scripture of the Imperial Creed. They prefer to lead from the front, demonstrating their faith with sword and bolter. We have another alternate look of an Canoness there. She's got an Inferno pistol, an Imperial Ecclesiarchy book, a Servo skull, braziers of holy fire, and she's crushing a Psyker heretic below her foot. Now we got a quote from Lieutenant Calcius. "I cannot deny that the Canoness impressed me. She is utterly without sentiment and possesses a will of iron, yet her sisters obey her orders without question, for she shares their suffering and would gladly give her own life in the Emperor's name. So then we've got the different ranks of commanders. So we got the Canoness, which is the highest field rank. Then we got the Palatine, like I said, they're effectively the officers and lieutenants to the Canoness. I've got one of those painted up, but my colour scheme is probably going to differ to how they're painted in this magazine, so I might have to get a second one just to probably match them up a bit. Then we got the Command Squad and Veterans, the Celestians. So we got two different types of Celestians, the Veteran Battle Sister ones, which have plenty of guns. And then we have the Celestant Sacrosancts, which are more close combat orientated. Next up, we've got a bit of fluff about the first of the orders, the Order of our Martyred Lady, the God Emperor's fiery sword. The fires of vengeance burn brightly in every sister of battle of the Order of our Martyred Lady. They are the deliverers of the Emperor's holy justice, to whom no sacrifice is too great, and by the chanting of impassioned prayers, they rain down unrelenting destruction upon his many enemies. They have a holy procession pictured here, and this just goes into more detail about the Order of our Martyred Lady. So when they were founded, they were originally known as the Order of the Fiery Heart, but when their leader, Catherine, fell, her death brought them such anguish that they decided to rename themselves and even recolour their armour to honour her. So we got the leader of the Order of our Martyred Lady, Junif Euretia. She goes to battle on a giant floating pulpit, armed with twin heavy flamers. Then we got Varentia, so this is the system where the Order of Martyred Lady is most prominent. So across the capital world of Varentis II, despite the disquiet began to develop into outright rebellion, so the Sisters of Battle came in and stomped flat all over the heretics. And then we have a nice short story. So this goes on to follow on from the blurb on Varentia on the previous page. So Varentia II's habitation blocked and Cathedrum districts crawl of heretical cultists and fiendish abominations. The Order of our Martyred Lady have descended upon the world in force, tasked with purging the traitors and liberating the corrupted world. So this will be quite nice. It might give you some inspiration on how to go about personalising your squad a little bit, and even how to name them. So that'll be quite cool, nice little read. Now we have a squad of Battle Sisters fighting off against a rabble of Chaos Cultists. On to building then. So we are building a Canoness, and she's a pretty simple model to build, but she is of course multi-part. You will need glue and clippers. But she goes together much like I explained during the overview of the frame. Glue her two halves of the torso together, glue her arms and legs on, or legs should I say. Then I would suggest, if you fancy it, leaving the back cloak separate so you can paint all the detail underneath, leaving the actual back here clear so you can glue the cape on afterwards. Same for the front. If you want to reach all the detail along her waist better, leaving this off is a good idea. Just make sure you mask off the contact areas with some blue tack or something. Head, it can easily be glued in. It doesn't interfere with anything too much. And the backpack, you can glue it straight onto here. But if you want to, again, pick out all the details, I suggest leaving it off until we get around to all those highlights that are going to come in future issues. So, painting her, I will be, of course, covering the paint guide in a separate video, but let's just quickly go over it. So we are giving her 3 coats of Chaos Black, Abaddon Black. If you do have the Chaos Black spray, I suggest giving her a blast of that first, and then a single once over with Abaddon Black. Then we're picking out the inside of a cloak and a hood with Rakar flesh, the outer side of a cloak and loincloth with Mephiston red. Picking out all the silver details with lead belcher. Also don't forget the little screen on the back with Mephiston red and her headdress underneath the hood. Picking out the flesh, the royal office and the fleur-de-lis on her backpack with Corax white, the hilt of her sword of Screamer pink, the coils of the plasma pistol with McCrag blue, before we wash all those areas with non oil. Except for the Rakar flesh, leave that for the Agrax later on. So yeah, all the red, the black, the pink, the silver and the blue with non oil. And the white on the back of the power hack. Then we are picking out all the beautiful golden detail. So we're picking out the trims here on the sensors and tassels, the lining on a cloak, top of the rod of office, and all the details on her back here. You might struggle trying to paint that with the head glued on, but it shouldn't be too hard to get there. Then after that, we're giving it a coat of Reikland flesh shade over all the gold details and the flesh, and of course the beige cloth with Agrax Earthshade. Then finally we're going to paint the base with Astrogranite and a wash of non-oil. And that is our completed Canoness, and I do think that looks pretty good. That is actually a rather nice... I'd be happy to leave it there for basic Battle Sisters. I'd be happy to look at my models like that on the battlefield. But definitely for her, she needs to be taken up to another level. So I can't wait for us to get future paints and future issues. I reckon we'll be having quite a few paints towards the end of the collection, where we'll be putting on the final highlights. We are getting Stormhost Silver soon, so we'll be able to highlight a lot of the silver and the gold details soon. But yeah, we are getting the reds nearer the issue 50 mark, so we'll be able to highlight all the different red areas. But we just have to wait and see for future issues. Oh, that's spoilers. But yeah, anyway, quickly, future issues, and like I said, we are getting Stormhost Silver and a brush. Not the most value of issues. I mean, the brush is £4, I think, for a small layer, and the Stormhost Silver is £2, so you are actually going to lose money on buying that issue. But issue 44, we get our second set of ruins, and I've been painting my set for Get Started. And part of me is really wanting to paint the whole of the building red and then pick out the windows with a different colour, just so I got, you know, a nice selection. I've already painted up my Get Started ones, and they're going to look very similar to this once I've finished them off. I just got to pick out the browns, give a wash of Agrax around the bottom, and a few stippling techniques that will be saved for the actual video itself. But that is the future. This is the present. I'm going to go build her, and I'll get her painted up. Well, I won't paint her up. I'll paint her up on the next video. So, that's enough rambling from me. I'd like to thank you all for watching. As usual, be sure to follow my social medias, like and share the video. Leave a comment down below. If you want to, leave a comment which is your favourite of the different orders, if you already know all the different orders. And let me know how you are going to be painting your Canoness as well. Also in the description down below are my usual affiliate links and social medias. So, I will see you next time then for more mad content. Goodbye.